Alright, let's solve for this. So here it's we have an equality. Yesterday when we talked about the absolute value, we had an equality sign here. But now we're gonna talk about this within an equality. So here's what we're gonna solve. So just like I said yesterday, the best way to think about this is this thing in a parenthesis inside the absolute value, it can either be positive or negative. So we don't know this whole shebang right here, this whole thing right here. It can either be positive or negative. So we don't know. We don't actually know what's the sign is going to be. So, but in order to solve this, we're going to assume that it's either positive or negative. So we're going to solve for both cases. And here, let's solve for positive, and here, let's solve for negative. Let's assume that this is positive. So the absolute value of x plus 2, if the inside is positive, it's going to be 4x, the same thing, 4x minus 2, 4x minus 2. The absolute value of that is going to be the same thing, 4x minus 2. Is less than or equal to 14. Here, if the whole thing inside of parentheses is negative, think about when I say if this is negative, think about this is negative 5. Negative 5 times 4 is negative 20 minus 2, negative 22. This is negative. In order for you to solve this, you gotta make sure that you transform, the negative into positives, because it's gonna be an absolute value. So the same thing here. We're gonna do here is gonna be negative. If this is negative, this whole thing is negative. In order to solve the absolute value, we're gonna have to put another negative sign inside of it to make it positive. So because negative absolute value is never positive. So if it's positive already, we'll put it down the same way it is. If it's negative, we're gonna put a negative sign on it to make it positive because it's an absolute value. So negative this, less than or equal to 14. So we're gonna have to solve both sides of the equation and then come up with a solution. So 4x less than 14. That negative 2 changes the sign to 4x less than 16. 4x actually less than 16. X is less than 16 divided by 4. X is less than 4. That's one solution. The second one we're gonna have to solve this the same way. So negative. So we bring in the sign inside the equation. Negative 4x. Negative here multiplied by negative 2 plus 2 less than 14. Okay, let me make this look more like a 2 for you. Less than 14. So negative 4x less than 14 minus 2. Negative 4x less than 14 minus 2 is 12. And you have, so we multiply both sides by negative 1. 4x. Because you multiply this by negative 1, so you're going to have to flip the sign of the inequality. Negative 12. You multiply this by negative 1, multiply this by negative 1. 4x is greater than negative 12. And if you want to know how to solve this, the best way to find out is how it is. We explain this whole concept of flipping the sign when you multiply by negative 1 in our YouTube channel. So you can check that out in the link below. So 4x. So we have x. We're going to solve for x is greater than negative 12 divided by 4. X is greater than negative 3. So now how do we graph this? We're going to come back and graph this, the solution for this, somewhere else. I'll put the solution, and then we're going to graph it and show you how you graph something that is similar to this. All right, we're going to come back and graph it. All right, thanks.